Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. You won't believe who the favourite is to get the sack from the Premier League manager list this season. That hasn't actually even started yet. And no, it's not Erik Ten Hag. I'm tired of people saying Ten Hag's going to be sacked by Christmas. You don't know football. Get out, get your coat and go for a walk because you've got no idea what you're talking about. And I haven't been down the pub. I'll be doing that for my Premier League predictions in a week or two. I'm completely sober, but this is, talk about I'm sober. People are drunk who are saying that Ten Hag's getting sacked by Christmas. They're just imbeciles who don't understand football because Man United are building something for the longer future and they're spending a lot of money on it. So it's not him. So who is it? Well, look, first of all, get your comments in. Who do you think are your top five? Number one being the guy you think will get sacked first in the Premier League. Because somebody's going to get sacked, but I don't believe who they've got in at number one on this list with the bookies. So in at number five, they've got Marco Silva of Fulham, which I find quite interesting because I think Fulham are the quintessential Premier League team. They can beat everybody, they can lose to everybody. And Fulham, to me, represent what's great about the Premier League because that is why the Premier League is the best league in the world, because of teams like Fulham who can give everybody a game. So I can't see why Marco Silva gets the sack unless Fulham don't become that team and suddenly become a relegation fodder. Fourth favourite to get the sack is actually another surprise to me. And I probably can't pronounce his name either, which is quite disrespectful. It's Iraola, who is at Bournemouth. He is the fourth favourite with the bookies to get sacked. And again, like Marco Silva, I would say very, very unlikely. He's got a very good style of football. It's a football club that doesn't even get 12,000 fans in the ground because it hasn't got that capacity. They are expected to be a team fighting for relegation, and last season they were nowhere near it. I hope we get a more competitive relegation race this season, but even if Bournemouth were in it, it's where you'd expect them to be. And I just don't think it will happen. I really don't think it will happen with Bournemouth. I think Iraola's done a good job. And obviously, they've got goals in that team. Third favourite is Steve Cooper. Now, I sort of get this. Leicester are coming up from the Championship. Promoted clubs do tend to press the panic button. I'll never understand why Sheffield United did it last season. I thought it was a mistake to sack their coach and bring Chris Wilder in when they were going to get relegated anyway. So newly promoted teams can do it. And if Leicester don't do particularly well, then of course Steve Cooper could be probably the first one in this top five so far that I would acknowledge. I mean, nobody wants to see people getting sacked, but it's the reality. It's going to happen. And Steve Cooper at third choice is probably the most realistic one we've had so far. Second favourite to get sacked, and again, I sort of agree with this, is Nuno Espirito Santo of Nottingham Forest, who I thought was a weird appointment anyway. I think his football is quite boring and negative, and that's never a good look for a fan base of any football club when, basically, the season ahead is about staying up, not playing great football. And if they're down there again, then I think, again, this would probably be a logical, and he is second favourite. But in at number one, and I'm stunned by this, the favourite to get the sack with the bookies from the Premier League manager list at this moment in time, on August the 1st, is Eddie Howe. And I don't really get why Eddie Howe is the favourite to get the sack. I don't get it. Answers on a postcard. Maybe I'm missing something here. But I suppose it's because they've seen, key allies of Howe leave. I don't know whether Dan Ashworth was a key ally, but Amanda Staveley certainly was. I think somebody else left as well. I'm not a Newcastle fan, so I don't know. They'll know in the chat. But, I mean, this is a guy that would get the England job. We were talking about yesterday, if he wanted the England job, he'd get the England job. So if his position is under threat, then why is he not even going to, are they mixing this up with he might leave his job rather than get sacked from his job? I find it incredible. I just don't think Eddie Howe would be the favourite, which means I've got to say who I think the favourite will be. And I actually think it is probably Espirito Santo at Forest. Just outside the top five, by the way, Oliver Glasner is sixth favourite. Again, I just don't agree with that. I think Crystal Palace finished last season very well, and there may well be a reality bite, but I don't see it happening with him. Number 7, well, look, Ten Hag. I'm surprised it's not even higher. You know, the media just want him out of a job. I don't think Ten Hag will be the first to get sacked. Russell Martin at Southampton, I think falls into the same category as Steve Cooper. He's the 8th favourite to get sacked this season first. Again, you come up, you get promoted, you don't do really well, and then owners get, you know, itchy feet thinking they can bring a miracle worker in and keep themselves up. So I understand that. 9th favourite is Sean Dyche at Everton. I mean, look, I think Dyche, I'd be very surprised. I mean, Dyche is the sort of person that's going to keep Everton up, isn't he? And Everton are not really I mean, they're not going to finish in the top half, I'll tell you that for free. So I don't really see Dyche being in that much danger. Kieran McKenna completes the top 10. Again, I think Kieran McKenna's there simply because Ipswich, newly promoted, could be in the relegation places. But, you know, if anybody is more deserving of keeping in a job, even if they don't do that well in the Premier League, it's going to be Kieran McKenna. I mean, Burnley did it with Vincent Kompany last season, and Kieran McKenna is a guy who's took Ipswich from League One to the Championship to the Premier League in 2 seasons. If they were to sack him because they weren't doing very well in the Premier League, it would be ridiculous. I think there's next to no chance of Kieran McKenna getting sacked, even if they're at the bottom of the league. So, yeah, I think, look, I'm going to go Espirito Santo. Get your comments in. What's your top 5 to go? That Eddie Howe thing's weird, though. I mean, it must be taken into account that he might leave his job at Newcastle to take the England job, because I just don't see Eddie Howe being the favourite to go. But then again, maybe I'm misreading the room. Maybe his security blanket of Ashworth and Staveley and the other person being removed, and maybe some people are looking at Newcastle's fixtures, which I hadn't even brought into this. Let me just bring that in very, very quickly. Newcastle fixtures, start of the season, are as follows. They play Southampton at home. You'd expect them to win that. Bournemouth away, you know, I think they can get a result there. Tottenham at home, Wolves away, Fulham away. I mean, I could see Newcastle having a very good start to the season. So it must be something to do with him leaving to potentially take the England job. It can't be that he's favourite to get sacked just outright. It's got to be something to do with that. I just don't believe that's right, to be honest with you. And there are a lot of points for Newcastle in those first 4 games. When you compare it to other teams, Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, Spurs at home, Wolves away. I mean, look, they're all decent teams potentially, but you'd expect Newcastle to pick up some wins there, definitely. Give us your comments below. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Daily content on That's Football, of course. And also, it's a big day personally. I'm leaving you. I'm going to go and work in America as a presenter on their Premier League coverage. They've taken the hint, and I will be the face of Premier League football in the United States on a lucrative 10-year contract. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm joking. I'm completely joking. My new book is out. That's what's happening. It's out today. Here it is. You can get your copy delivered now. Scan the QR code or go through the link in the description. It's also available to listen now on Audible. You can get the audio version of the book on amazon.co.uk right now. I'll be drinking this tonight that's been sent to me by the publishers. I'll have some of that. And when I've drunk all of that, I'm just going to wear this as a cape and basically probably nothing else because it's quite hot. There we go. But please do get the book, support it. You're very welcome. And thanks everyone for watching the stream today. I'll speak to you later.